Oh, yeah! You know what time it is. That's right, it's time for the Eddie and Webby podcast! Yo, I'ma bust out some theme song action for you. Check it out. The Eddie and Webby show is the place to be. They're talking about beer and pickleball and technology. So if you didn't know, now you know. 'Cause it's time for the Eddie and Webby show.
On today's episode, Eddie and Webby eat the last of their Thanksgiving leftovers. This is the Eddie and Webby podcast.
First person voted off the podcast is... Oh, sorry, Eddie, but the tribe has spoken. Oh, hey, how's it going? This is Webby, not Eddie.
And I'm Eddie, and this is our 79th podcast.
Oh, yeah, episode number 79. And Eddie, can you believe it? Our next episode is number 80. How is that possible?
And the last one was number 78. But it doesn't matter. You want to know why? Because I was voted off today, so that's it. That's all for me, right?
Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that, Eddie, but yeah, the tribe spoke, and you're out of here, man.
That's right. Well, I will be letting you do most of the conversation today here, and I'm going to be managing social media, which is always a lot of fun, because guess what, Webby?
What?
We're live. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. And for the, let's say, 5 people that care, we're live on Twitch as well. And this is meant to be interactive. So if you have any questions or comments for us, but probably more likely for our guest tonight, please feel free to throw them down in the chat, and we might be able to bring them up. Right, Webby?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, please. We love interaction. Our guest loves interaction, so go ahead and interact.
That's right. And just so you guys know, too, after the podcast, we are going to be bringing it down and coming right back with another episode of Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby, where we may have another special guest there as well. So if you guys want to have a little post-podcast fun with us, stick around for that, too.
Yeah, always a fun time. This is definitely going to be a very fun night, no doubt.
That's right. Well, Webby, I think that people are probably like, yeah, we're sick of hearing you. We want to get to your guest tonight. But before we do, I want to know, the world wants to know, the universe wants to know, what is going on in Twitter?
Ah, yes, Twitter. Good old Twitter.com. Let's go ahead and pull up Twitter on my handheld device here, see what's going on the Twitter sphere. Here is a tweet from Jed Probst. I was blown away by the musical performances from Ashley and Patrick of Jigsaw Health during episode 78 of the Eddie and Webby podcast. They were such fun guests. Well, thank you, Jed. And yeah, I agree. Ashley and Patrick were super fun guests. I mean, they did a musical performance, a couple musical performances. Yeah. It's such fun people. It was a great night.
Yeah, on the spot, they were able to just come out with all that musical performance. It was awesome.
Yeah, very cool. All right, let's do another tweet. Here's one from Fart Paul Gossler. I sure hope Tyson Apostol helps make our dreams come true and causes Eddie and Webby to get voted off the world of podcasting. Jeez.
Yeah.
Ouch.
It's not very nice fart. I don't appreciate that.
No, I mean, Eddie already got voted off, so I mean, you want both of us to get voted off? That's not nice at all. There'd be no show. What,
There'd be no show without Eddie and Webby, guys.
Why waste your time tweeting if you don't even like our show, man?
Yeah. Knock it off, fart.
Right. All right, let's do one more Twitter message. Here's one from Danny Bavito. I saw a post on Instagram about a new video series Eddie and Webby are doing called Webby versus Everybody. What is that all about?
Yeah, what is that all about, Webby?
That is a great question, Danny. And that is a brand new video series that we just started doing this week. It's called Webby versus Everybody. And basically what I'm going to be doing for the foreseeable future is I'm going to be challenging people to a singles match. And it's going to be people that are typically much more skilled than I am. And it's the purpose of it is for me to try and become a better singles player, because let's face it, I really suck at singles pickleball and I want to get better. And I figured what's a better way to get better than play people that are way better than me. The first episode featured Kyle Worthy. He's a local player near me that is very good. We had a very fun battle, and the next few episodes are going to be super exciting. Some awesome guests that I have with me. I actually can't believe I got some of them to agree to play against me, but you're going to want to stay tuned. There's going to be a couple professional level players featured. Sometimes I might even play people my own skill level just to mix things up. You never know. You never know who's going to be on an episode. If you want to be on an episode, let me know. Who knows? Maybe we can work it out.
I look forward to seeing more of them.
But yeah, that's it for the Twitter sphere today.
Nice.
But I think we should just enough about Eddie and I. I think it's time to get to our special guest tonight. Tonight's guest is another very exciting one for us. He was a professional cyclist that competed on the extremely popular television show Survivor, not once, but 4 times. In fact, he even ended up winning the whole thing during his 3rd appearance on the show. In addition to his impressive resume there, he is an avid pickleball player. And like most people tuning into this podcast, he is very, very passionate about it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Tyson Apostol. How's it going, man?
What's up, everybody? I'm great. How are you? I had to run and grab my glasses because I did not want to be the odd man out. And especially if we are losing Eddie, as seems to be the case, R.I.P. Eddie, then, I mean, somebody with sunglasses has to be his successor, right?
That's right. You are absolutely right. I love it. This is awesome, though, man. I'm very excited that you're able to join us here tonight. We really appreciate it. And to be honest, what was more exciting for you, winning Survivor or getting booked to appear on the Eddie and Webby
for sure. Show? Yeah, this for sure. I didn't even have to wait for you to finish that question.
Nice. That's what I figured. I knew it. I just wanted to kind of
the only reason I went on Survivor in the first place was like to hopefully one day finagle my way onto this podcast. And I can't believe it's happening.
Well, congrats. Mission accomplished.
Thank you.
You did it. Nice. So I want to start off getting to learn a little bit more about you and your background. But before we do that, I'm just my throat is a little dry. It's cold here in Michigan. The furnace is kicking, real dry. I need to wet my palate. I don't know about you. I don't know about Eddie. I know Eddie got voted off, but Eddie, I think it's okay for you to come back on and
I can come back now.
Talk about you can come back and talk about what you're drinking tonight if you have something to drink. Do you?
I do, actually. So I was at Publix today, and I'm always a big fan of Funky Buddha Brewery. They're out of Fort Lauderdale, a couple hours from here. And they have this mixology series, and this one is called Paloma. And I bought this purely because it's Funky Buddha and because it was a special series. I don't know what it tastes like or anything like that, but I'm excited to try it out.
Nice. Very nice. I will be drinking something from a Michigan brewer. This is one I've never had it before, but it's another case of something that I bought just because I love the labeling on it. And this is from Pigeon Hill Brewing Company, and it's called Shifting Sands Classic IPA. And if the camera picks it up here, it's got a very old school Nintendo Mario vibe going on, and I love it. That brought me in. It caught my attention. And this brewery is in Muskegon, Michigan. So I'm excited to try this out. I always love trying local craft breweries products.
Nice.
What about you, Tyson? What are you going to be sipping on this evening?
So I stopped in at the mom and pop shop down the way, and they recommended this. I guess it's just a local soda company, and I've never heard of them before, and thought I'd give it a whirl. It's called DR Pepper, I think, and
nice.
It's got 23 unique flavors all blended into one soda, which is crazy to think.
Oh, wow.
And they are out of Plano, Texas. So, yeah, pretty exciting. I'll let you know how it tastes. And who knows? Maybe they have another fan over here. So
very nice. Sounds like a delicious craft soda there from that local company there. And cheers, guys. I'm actually drinking out of my brand new Eddie and Webby pint glass this evening. So,
fantastic.
Cheers. We're all about the branding here. You probably couldn't notice from everything in my basement having the Eddie and Webby logo on it.
Except for your hat.
Right. Got to represent the D. Got to represent the D here in Detroit.
But, I used to have a Detroit hat.
Oh, nice. Very nice. You have nice taste in hats there. I like it.
Thank you.
But yeah, my palate is nice and wet now, so we can continue with the show. So like I was saying, I'd like to learn a bit more about your background. So where did you live growing up, and how did you end up becoming a professional cyclist?
I lived in Utah, growing up, and my parents kind of threw me in all the sports. Like I did pretty much everything except for football. And my dad was into cycling, mountain biking to be more specific, and my mom was a swimmer. So I did both of those sports. I actually swam in college on scholarship before dropping out and moving to Europe to race road bikes. And so I just raced the mountain bike circuit, raced the national circuit as a junior, like under 18 competitor, and then made the transition to road racing because that's how you make money racing a bike, is racing on the road, not on the dirt. So I moved to Europe with a bike and a bike in a box and a suitcase full of clothing, and ended up living there for 6 years, racing professionally. Utah is a pretty heavy cycling state. So yeah, so it was, yeah, I mean, a little nudge from my parents to choose the sport of their interest, and then I settled into it. So that's how I did it, I think.
All right. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, I'm a big fan of mountain biking. I haven't done it much the last couple of years. Honestly, since I got into pickleball, I haven't done
That's
much
me
of
too.
the my previous hobbies. So we're definitely going to get into some Survivor discussions, but that'll be a little bit later. I do want to get right to some pickleball talk here. So I first learned that you're a pickleball player when you were featured in an issue of Pickleball magazine earlier this year. So how long have you been playing pickleball, and how did you first get into it?
Yeah, I mean, first off, let's go back to that magazine. I was the centerfold, dude. That was pretty cool, right?
Right?
Centerfold,
Yeah.
you open it up, hang it on your wall, something to be proud of. I have been playing pickleball. So I moved to Arizona from Utah like 3 years ago. And the community I live in has a bunch of pickleball courts. And I just was like, well, I'm paying the HOA fees. I may as well utilize everything here. So I bought some wooden paddles and just started inviting a neighbor to go with me. And we were playing and like would Google the rules and figure it all out on our own. And then the HOA was doing these morning meetups at the pickleball courts and stuff. So I got into it that way, and was playing like sporadically. Like I would play like maybe a couple times a month or something, and just worked my way up from there. And yeah, got more serious into it like a year and a half ago, where I had gotten my brother-in-laws into it. And we were meeting up more regularly to play, and got some nice paddles, and just a snowball effect from there.
Very nice. So have you done many pickleball tournaments?
I have done a couple tournaments. I actually went to Branson, Missouri earlier this year, and played like it was a super fun tournament in the Branson Convention Center called the Branson Championship Experience. And then before that, I had gone up to Prescott, which is like a 2-hour drive from where I am, to play a tournament. Other than that, I mean, tournaments for me take a long time. I have 2 little kids at home, and you know, I don't. Do you have kids?
I do. Yep. They're both teenagers now, but I do have kids.
Oh, okay. So like the trade-off is if I go and play a tournament, then now I have to take the kids for like 5 days straight by myself while my wife goes and does her thing. So
Gotcha.
it's it's a balance of time and stuff. So I play tournaments
Yep.
when I can, but when I can't, I meet up. I like to meet up with competitive groups. There's a couple competitive groups out here in Arizona that I play with, a little bit in Scottsdale, a little bit in Mesa, and I try to get out there as much as I can.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds pretty much exactly like what I got going on. The balancing act can definitely be tough. So I definitely don't do as many tournaments as I'd like to do, but doing rec play with, especially with good level players, is where it's at for me as well. So what would you say your skill level is? Do you know what your skill level is, or around what area you're at?
Yeah, I'm like a 4 or 4 or 5, depending on the day and my partner.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's
Nice.
it. Yeah, yeah, a 4 or 4 or 5, and I think I'm improving. I don't think, like, I'm 41, so at some point you probably, or maybe you just have to shift your skills to different aspects of the game rather than rely on youth and speed and power and strength. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been exciting to meet a lot of new people. I've already made tons of new friends. It's fun to be part of a network. Like, I mean, I've been in a lot of different networks, but the pickleball definitely there is a lot of enthusiasm in the world of pickleball. And so that's always exciting to be a part of.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree more. I have never had such an increase in the amount of friends I've had in my life like I have once I got into pickleball. Like in the last 3 years, easily over 100, maybe even a couple hundred new friends that I've made through pickleball, and not just like online Facebook friends. I mean, like actual legitimate friends that I could call up and get a game of pickleball in pretty much at any time if I'm in their area and stuff. I mean, it's just something. It's something so unique about pickleball that brings people together like that. I love it. It doesn't matter where I'm at, thanks to all the apps out there that show like where you can play pickleball. Like I feel like I can be anywhere in the country and even a lot of different parts of the world and be able to find somebody to play pickleball with.
Yeah, it's true, and that is exciting. I travel a lot to play poker. This year I have not. And last year I went to Reno and just like looked up a tennis center and started taking like a herd of poker players over to the pickleball courts every morning before the poker tournaments would start. And they've all gotten into it. They've all bought paddles. And now like there's even like a little community of poker players who also play pickleball. And so, yeah, just sharing the gospel of pickleball with the world, or trying to.
Very nice. Now, I've seen online that it's been said that you're the world's #1 pickleball influencer. Is there any truth to that, or data to back that up, or where did that come from?
I mean, it's trademarked. So if anybody else wants to take that from me, they're going to have to buy it from me, and it will not be cheap. So,
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
yeah.
Nice. So something kind of funny, shortly after we booked you to be on our show, I actually saw a post in the pickleball forum, and it made me laugh because somebody mentioned your name, and then there was a response to that comment, and they said that there's no way that you can be considered the #1 pickleball personality because as long as there's somebody by the name of Scott Golden out there, he's got that title. And so we actually got in touch with Scott Golden, and he sent us a little video message for you. So Eddie,
Oh, cool.
I'd say we should go ahead and play the video.
Hey Tyson, Scott Golden here. I know we've never officially met before, but I hear you're big time into pickleball now. I know a little bit about your background, that you won Survivor, I think back in 2012 or 2013. And I know that you're a great competitor, and I like your videos so far. I've watched a little bit on your stuff, and I like your energy. I actually saw you did a Nasty Nelson the other day, which was pretty cool. But word on the street is you claim to be the biggest pickleball personality in the game of pickleball right now. And my question for you is, why do you feel that you're the biggest personality in pickleball? What makes you tick? What makes you that way? So look forward to meeting you in the future, man. Hope you're doing well. And glad you got to get on my buddy's show, the Eddie and Webby show. They're great, and really enjoyed getting to catch up with them. So you guys take care, and talk to you soon.
And now I respond? Is that how this works?
Yep,
okay.
Your turn.
Scott, nice to meet you too. There was a joke because the one guy got on and was like, what about Scott Golden? And I said, who? Even though I do know who Scott Golden is. I've heard his name many times, and we have never met, but we will eventually. Biggest personality is, for me, is just for me, it's a more charming way to say influencer. And for me, I have a pretty decent reach throughout the world with my social medias and with all of my outlets, including doing things like this. And that's one of the reasons I have been really promoting pickleball hard, is because there is nobody that I know of in my position that can play pickleball decent enough, has a pretty large following, and is able to share the sport of pickleball and introduce it to a bunch of new players who maybe are curious about it or maybe have never heard about it in their life. So like I said, it's trademarked. So if Scott wants that title, he can make an offer.
Nice. But I really love the fact that you and people that are more well known are getting into the sport, and I love the fact that you're so into it and that you're all in, like you're really devoted to it. Because I think that's what we need. Because I mean, there's a lot of people in the pickleball forums that like maybe they're not Survivor fans, and they're like, well, Tyson, who is this guy? But I mean, the general public knows of Survivor and knows of you probably way more than they even have, like more than the amount of people that have heard of pickleball. So I really like the fact that you're into pickleball. You can help get the word out to a whole new audience that us pickleball fanboys can't get to because we don't have that audience that you do. So I think it's a great thing. But there's a message here from Jason Bennett. He has a great point. He said, but does Tyson have a #1 pickleball themed song on iTunes? That's a great question. Do you?
Yeah. Jason, I do not currently, but little spoiler, I will be having a pickleball theme song come out at some point in the near future. Yeah.
Well,
so
just
stay tuned.
Just so you know, Tyson, we have pickleball anthem trademarked. So you cannot call it pickleball anthem unless you want to pay a hefty price. So
okay, well maybe I'll trade you for the title of world's #1 pickleball personality.
All right, maybe we can work something out like that.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll get my people in touch with your people.
Perfect. So Scott Golden isn't the only person that sent us a video for you. We learned that Riley Newman, when he was on our show, that he has actually given you some coaching and that the two of you have played together before. So he sent us a little video message for you. So let's go ahead and play that.
Hey Tyson, it's Riley. Got a question for you. I know you're an aspiring professional pickleball player, so when can I expect to play you in my first round matchup? See ya.
Am I aspiring professional? I guess I am now that Riley said that, as long as he coaches me to victory. But if I'm meeting him, I feel like that's a conflict of interest for him now, right? To coach me to defeat him. Is that
right?
I mean, we'll have to do some underground play first here, and then we'll make it public from there. But
Okay.
give me, let's see, if I wanted to go pro, give me a year and a coach and yeah, and a nanny. And I'm going to need a lot of stuff to put in the time to go pro. And my goal, honestly, is not to be pro. My goal is to have fun and get my exercise and be active and share the sport with people who are a little timid dipping their toes into it or have never heard of it. So, yeah, so being pro would be cool. It would be awesome to have that title, to say you're a pro pickleballer, but it's not my #1 reason for participating in the sport.
Okay. Gotcha. Now, I mean, it could be just like in Star Wars, though. Like you could, if Riley keeps coaching you, the apprentice can then become the master. So don't rule it out all the way. Just think of Yoda and Luke Skywalker and all them.
And I've been a professional in sports before, so it's not territory unknown to me.
Right. Okay. So how did you and Riley Newman first get in contact with each other?
Somebody actually just recommended that I give him and Lindsay a call to give me some lessons. This was before I was going to the tournament in Missouri. I was like, oh, I don't want to embarrass myself completely at this tournament, so I'm going to have them give me some coaching and some tips and figure some stuff out. And so we met up. We live like 20 minutes away from each other. And we met up and got a lesson. And then I started talking to Riley more and would meet up with him almost weekly for like a month or two there until all the tournaments started happening again, when he was kind of just stuck and the tournaments were on hold. He had more time to meet up and play. So Riley, you let me know when you're ready for me, because I know he's always on the road and impossible to get a meeting with. But when the slow season hits, hit me up and we'll work on some things, and maybe one day the apprentice can become the master.
Very nice. Love it. Riley's awesome. He was in Southeast Michigan, near where I live, over the summer, and I was able to attend one of his clinics, and that was such a great experience. And he was nice enough to let me film the whole thing. So we put out a video. So if anybody hasn't checked that out yet, it's you can see how my Riley Newman clinic experience was. I absolutely loved it. I'll absolutely do another one if he comes back into town. That was very fun. It was my very first ever pickleball clinic, but I absolutely loved it, and can't wait to do another one. Riley actually sent us another video, and it's of a pretty sweet point from a match that the two of you played in together. So let's go ahead and roll that clip.
Go. That's a great volley.
Nice. That was a good long rally. Nice work, guys, on getting that one.
That's what makes pickleball beautiful, is that
Right?
any time you show up to a court, you can have an amazing rally. Somebody can have an incredible shot. Hopefully it's you, something that you have wanted to witness, or like there's just something about it that every time you show up, you know that something special at some point is going to happen. And that was super fun. I remember after that, you saw that time when I ran over to try and cover him. And after that, he was like, I can get to everything on the court. You don't need to cover for me, bro. And I was like, that is true. I didn't know what I was thinking in that moment. I was just trying to help where I could. So he did most of the work. And it's really fun playing with Riley because you get to have a front row seat and watch all that stuff happen.
Oh, I bet. And one thing that stood out to me in that video clip was, it was a great rally, obviously, but kind of an awkward chest bump there at the end. Eddie, can we see that again? All right,
He
so
told me
he
I
needs
needed
to
to work on my chest bumps. But
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
I'm a timid chest bumper.
okay. Yeah, I know chest
'Cause I didn't
bumping
know that's
isn't
what we're
everybody's
going
thing.
for. Yeah, I'm just not, doesn't come natural to me. But I promise you, next time Riley and I play together, I will nail the chest bump.
All right, I'll be looking out for it. So everybody, keep an eye. When next time Riley and Tyson are together, make sure that Tyson perfected his chest bump. Critique him if you need to, and let's get him to be a 5.0 chest bumper.
Yeah, I mean, I can do that. I can definitely become a professional chest bumper.
Nice. So what's going on your end, Eddie?
So there's some social media comments coming in. A couple questions, but also just a couple comments here. Scott Golden
Negative.
said, "Oh man, all these trademarks."
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Scott, you got to get it. You got to get a trademark lawyer and start trademarking your stuff, my man. Otherwise, people are going to steal it. Who knows? Maybe my handle on Instagram tomorrow will be Scott Golden.
The Golden Boy. I like
The Golden Boy.
Yep.
So
Comment here from Charity Schneider just saying, "Love Tyson."
Charity, I love you too. Thank you.
And another comment here from Michael Withrow just saying, "Love you, Tyson." So you're getting a lot of love in the comments here.
Oh, yeah. It feels good.
Nice.
It feels good to be loved.
Then I got two questions that I wanted to ask. The first one is from Dana Stidham Joseph, and she wants to know what paddle you play with.
Oh, I brought one. I play with this. It is the Gamma Hellbender. It's their brand new one. And it is their Nuocore technology with the graphite surface. So it has a lot of grab. You can, manipulate the ball a little bit. It's nice and light and quick. It's not fully elongated. I mean, what rating does this podcast have where I can talk about elongation?
I was just about to say that's what she said, but
it's a semi-elongated paddle so it's not as long or narrow. So you have a little bit more reach, and it's got great touch, and I've been in love with it. It is almost sold out and will not be restocked before the holidays. So if you want one before Christmas, you need to get on gammasports.com and buy one immediately. And I would suggest buying one because I've loved it. I've played with a lot of paddles, and this is my go-to paddle right now.
Nice. Do you
Nice.
have a preferred
So-
weight? Are you do you like to play on the lighter side, on the heavier side, right in the middle?
I generally like 8 to 8.2. This is a 7.6, so I have added a little bit of weight to it and brought it up to about a 8.0. And I love it. So other options, the Legend, I played with the Gamma Legend for a while. I love that as well. That comes in at an 8.1, so it's right in my preferred weight there. I go back and forth because I am more of like a power player. I like to, if I smash the ball, I like to make sure that I am winning that point. So I don't like to have people return it. So with a heavier paddle, I'm able to put the ball away with much more force and make sure that my opponent isn't getting to it. But I have been trying to work on my touch game.
Okay. That's good. And it's good to have a paddle that can do all of that, which is nice.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes into this next question. And I'm just going to go ahead and bring it up and then immediately disappear from the screen. And that is from Andre Paul. Tyson, could you take Webby?
Ooh.
In singles?
Yeah, I think he's talking about singles here because I just started a series where I do singles against all these different people. So that's a great question, Andre.
How old are you, Webby?
I am 39.
And what is your skill level in doubles?
In doubles, if
Yeah.
you want my official ranking, it's 3.5. Some days I play like a 3.0, some days I play like a 4.0.
I could take Webby.
Oh, all right. Well, I might as well officially issue this challenge then. Would you be willing to participate in a future episode of Webby versus everybody?
100%. You come to Arizona. I mean, the weather's not getting any better in Michigan. You may as well get to
Right.
Arizona.
Yeah, I'll
And,
gladly come to Arizona. I've never been there. I would love to go there. So yeah, you heard it here first, folks. Webby versus
Yep.
Tyson. It's going to happen one of these days.
It's happening. Do you want to play with a Gamma paddle? I got a whole bunch of them you can try out. And you could even stay in this guest room here. It's got a lion, but that's only temporary for podcasting purposes.
Oh, nice. All right. Yeah, we'll work something out. We can definitely make that happen. So speaking of Gamma, something kind of cool. My mother-in-law actually made me aware of this fact, and that is that Ellen DeGeneres recently gave away a Gamma pickleball set as part of her Christmas giveaway on her TV show. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, it was awesome. Did you see it?
I did. She actually sent me the clip, and she's like, "Oh, you should go on Ellen's show or have Ellen on your show." So I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll just give her a quick buzz and see if she wants to be on the show sometime. That'd be cool."
And I'll call her too. We may as well all talk to her.
Right?
It was awesome. She gave away, or Gamma gave away on her show, a $500 package to everybody in the audience, I believe. So they got like temporary net, temporary court markings, 4 paddles, everything, balls, everything you need to get going. And I thought that was super awesome. And we even like none of the players at Gamma knew it was happening until the day of, and then they let us know. So we all tuned into Ellen, and I think probably upped the ratings of Ellen by quite a large margin.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because people started sharing that clip on the pickleball forum. So absolutely, she got a bump in ratings after that. So that was a very smart move on the part of Ellen. But I love the fact that, that people like Ellen. Yeah, Ellen and Gamma. Yeah, smart on Gamma's part too, because I mean, how many people now are like people that didn't even know about pickleball are probably buying a Gamma set because they want to play this game that Ellen is obsessed with. So yeah, smart on both their parts, no doubt.
Yeah, and if you do want to buy stuff on Gamma, you can use Tyson 20 for 20% off. And I think they're throwing some extra goodies in for the holiday season, like paddle cover, some tacky overgrip, which is, in my opinion, is the best overgrip in the biz. Like, it stays tacky for so long, and they come in super flashy colors. Like, these are not stock colors here. These are super flashy, beautiful, tacky overgrips.
Nice. I've used the I've purchased those Gamma overgrips before. I'm a big fan. They're very, very good overgrips.
They are. And they're great stocking stuffers. Dude, I just thought of that just right now. I was like, they're a nice, like, little cheap accessory to throw on somebody's paddle that improve your game without, having to spend hundreds of dollars on somebody. Put them in a stocking, put a few of them in a stocking. They come in a 3-pack. So, yeah. Okay. That's what everybody's getting from me.
Yeah, there you go. And I kid you not, like, everybody that's asked me, like my wife and then my mother-in-law asked me what I want, and the overgrips are on my list because, I mean, you go through them like crazy. The more you play, you got to replace them. So, I mean, I absolutely love the idea of getting overgrips as a gift.
How often do you go through an overgrip?
I'd say if I do a long tournament and I don't go 0-2 out, I replace it for every tournament I do pretty much. I like the feeling of a fresh overgrip.
Yeah, I'm in the same
it is
boat.
nice to have a fresh.
Yeah,
but like, if you're not playing tournaments, there's nothing better than a fresh overgrip.
Yeah, if I'm not playing tournaments, I mean, I'll probably keep it for like a few weeks or something like that. But I mean, when it comes to tournament time, I'm putting a new fresh overgrip on.
Okay, yeah. This was also a gauge to see if I still felt like I could beat you in a singles matchup, to see how often you change your overgrip. So it's all in here, man. Just like crunching the numbers.
Strategy. So did my
strategy,
did your fear level go up or down based on my answer?
About the same, because I switch out about as often. So I'm just trying to gauge if you're getting more hours in than me, and if, like, when you show up, all of a sudden you're like the world's first 7.0 player, and there's nothing I can do.
No, you do not have to worry about me being a very high level player. So get that out of your head right now.
To drop my expectations. I feel like this is what you're doing. Now I'm going to show up. I'm going to have drank a bunch of these artisanal sodas that I just barely heard of today. And by the time you roll in, like, I'm just not going to be at my peak.
Yeah, I feel like if this is the bar, maybe bring your expectation here and then lower it a little more, and then that's where I'm at.
Okay. And I'll set my expectations super low so that no matter what, you perform above that level. So even no matter what happens, I can be like, he really shocked me. He shocked me real good. But you also have to lower your expectations of me.
Okay. All right.
If that is possible.
So what do you got going on your end, Eddie?
I know, Webby, you got a ton of stuff that you want to be able to go over with Tyson, but there's so many good questions coming in here, or comments, that I couldn't resist here.
Yeah, bring them on.
So Steve Vaza said, I got him with an Ernie in October. Ha ha, laugh out loud. You wanna share that?
Oh, man.
I don't remember him getting me with an Ernie. I remember me going for the Ernie, and he body bagged me. I thought I set it up beautifully, went to jump the line, and then he hit the ball right into my chest. And he very well could have Ernied me, but the only real painful memory I have of meeting up with the Vaz, as we call him in the Gamma family, is he body bagged me when I thought I set him up so perfect to Ernie it as hard as I could right down his throat.
Yeah.
So, and again, we're talking pickleball, everybody.
Yeah. It's a risky shot sometimes.
It really is, yeah. But yeah, I mean, if he got me with an Ernie, which it sounds like he did, he wasn't the first, probably not the last either since then. That was in October. I've played quite a bit since then. So yeah, but never feels good to get Ernied on.
Well, the Ernie's a good shot. There's also another good shot in the game that is very controversial. And this question comes in from, and I'm really sorry if I butchered the name, Tana Kamchanakfun. And Tana says, tell me about the Nasty Nelson.
Tana Karn. That's what we call him. Tana, well, I'm going to this, I go to this meetup, this group in Scottsdale every week, and all the players there are pretty much better than me. Maybe I'm not the worst one, but pretty close to the worst one that shows up. And there's this one kid, pretty funny. I can give him a shout out. Kevin, what's up, dude? And he's probably like a 5-0 player. And on game point, he was my partner, and he just smashed his serve into the non-returning player on the other side, and it hit him right in the chest. And then I was like, in my mind, I was like, oh, we lost side out, I guess. And he was like, we just won. I was like, how? And he's like, well, if you hit them with the ball. So he taught me this controversial move that is funny amongst friends, I think, but I don't know that I have the confidence or the cutthroatedness to do it to a stranger. But I have performed the Nasty Nelson on multiple friends since being taught it. Mm-hmm. Because it's just too good. It's just too good for somebody to just like look down at their feet, look over at their partner, and then get thumped in the chest with the ball.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And there's nothing more satisfying than pulling it off. But there's also nothing worse than being the recipient of it. It is.
I haven't been the recipient yet. Yeah, I haven't been the recipient yet. You have? And how did you feel? Like, run us through the whole flood of emotions that you had as it was happening.
The worst part was it was against a group of fairly new players that I was working with in my community. And so I was kind of showing them like, all right, you want a deep serve, deep return. And I was up there at the line and they hit the ball and I wasn't really paying attention. I was just in kind of casual mode observing and just got me with it. And I'm like, well, that's your point. And they didn't realize that was their point at first. I had to explain it to them. I'm like, that's
so
actually
they just
your
hit
point.
they just hit like a really bad serve.
Just a really bad serve.
And they also as bad.
But they also
still felt bad.
The crap out of the ball, and I think they were trying to like overcompensate for their lack of skill and just hit the ball and just bam right in the chest. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess that's your point.
So here's the question for you guys: if it's not done on purpose, is it still considered a Nasty Nelson, or does it need to be on purpose to be considered a true Nasty Nelson?
I think it has to be done on purpose.
Yeah, that's
to earn the moniker nasty, right? Otherwise, it's just like dumb luck.
Right, because I've done it twice. Oh, no, actually, no, I did do it once on purpose. I was going to say I've done it twice, and it was not intentional, so I didn't truly count it. But there was one time where I did it during rec play on purpose. This guy, he kept standing right.
Drifting all the way to the center.
All the way at the center line, and he kept doing it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. I did it, and I drilled him, and it felt amazing.
So what I do with those guys is I'll scoot all the way over to the corner to serve so that my line will hit them, but if they move, the ball will still fall in play.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that way you can it's like you have a contingency plan there in case he moves and you miss him, then the ball still falls in play. I don't know if it is, but it's what I do.
Nice. I like it.
Thank you.
We have one more question here, and this comes from somebody who I'm a big fan of. You've all seen her work, her photography. It's Belinda Detman, and she wants to know, Tyson, who's your favorite player to watch, male and female? Thanks.
Ooh, that's a good question, Belinda.
Male and female. Male, I mean, it's got to be somebody, I know it's got to be one of my friends. So probably Riley, especially with all the energy he brings and excitement and enthusiasm. And then my other friend, Zane Navertil, is also exciting and fun to watch. Just a young kid on the scene the last couple years. And so it's the same with watching Survivor. Anytime you get to see a friend actually be the one competing there, there's like extra at stake for it. And my interest levels definitely skyrocket. So male, definitely Riley and Zane. Female, Jess, what's the engaged girl's name?
Irvin.
Yeah, Jesse Irvin. Jesse Irvin, for the same reason. She brings like a lot of enthusiasm and emotion to it. You can tell that she is really excited when she's playing well. And that's what I like. I like that type of enthusiasm. But yeah, that's probably it. I I grew up in like a football family where football was always on in the background during holidays and on weekends and stuff, even if it was on mute. And so I do that same thing on ESPN3 with pickleball. Like when pickleball's on the weekend, I'll just flip it on, have my coffee, eat my breakfast, watch some pickleball, play with my kids. It's a pretty good day.
Nice. Yeah, great question, Belinda. Great answers. Very solid choices there. And so you mentioned Zane Navratil, and I'm glad you did because we actually have a video question for you from the man himself. So let's go ahead and play the question from Zane.
Okay.
What's up, Eddie and Webby? What's up, Tyson? How's it going? I had 2 questions for you. First off, at what point do short shorts become underwear? And number 2, how do you plan to overtake the other Tyson for shortest shorts in pickleball? Thanks, Tyson.
Is he talking about Tyson number 2?
Tyson number 2, huh? All right, I think so. Yeah, possibly.
I think I already have the shortest shorts. Is the other Tyson shorts shorter than mine?
He gives you a good run for your money, but if we're talking like Survivor shorts, you've definitely got him beaten there.
Yeah, I always try to make sure the drawstrings are longer than the inseam of the shorts, so that the drawstrings hang lower than the actual shorts do. That's a good measure of a good length short, and it's hard because I'm very particular about my clothing for some reason. I don't know why. I just like to look good. And so the short shorts, they have to be short and they have to be like pretty form fitting, but they also have to have pockets. And that's the tricky part, is finding short shorts with pockets. So I found a perfect pair. I have them in a bunch of different colors and I've been playing in them. And short shorts, when do they become underwear? I think it's when you're wearing them under another garment is when they actually become underwear. Is that the definition? So if you were wearing pants on top of your short shorts, those then would be considered underwear.
That's literally what underwear is.
That's what I thought, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Good answer.
Zane is planning on coming out here, and he's going to stay in this exact room, I think in early next year. He's going to come out for a tournament, spend a couple of days here first, maybe, and I'll have to get him on the short train. Choo choo.
Nice. But yeah, we're big fans of Zane, good friend of ours. He was on the podcast just a couple episodes ago, but a great guy, awesome player, very fun to watch. One of the fastest moving players in the game today. I absolutely love watching him play. So
yeah, I
awesome
played with him not too long ago. He was here doing a clinic, and I just had the good fortune of meeting up and playing with him because another friend introduced us and invited us up to play. Yeah, I submitted a question for him, and then I asked him who he answered, and I softballed it so perfectly for him to choose me to go on a deserted island and play pickleball with him. But I know he didn't choose me because he told me he couldn't remember his answer because all he could think about was the lion picture in my background. And while I did appreciate that, I also knew it was a cop-out answer. He chose somebody else. It wasn't me.
Oh yeah, that's the classic answer. When it's not the answer that the person is looking for, you'd be like, "Oh man, I forget what my answer was."
Yeah, I forget what the answer was, but I remember the lion in the background. That was awesome.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, come on, dude! I'm 41. I played Survivor 4 times. This is classic misdirect."
But he was very drawn to the lion. In fact, we did a freeze frame of your question just so we could all admire the lion in the background because we all loved it so much.
But, let me get it for you. It's bigger.
Yeah,
it's bigger than you think.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, let's see what the picture to Tyson ratio is. Oh wow, that is very good size.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the background of it too. So here's what was going on. My neighbor, who's a new neighbor because we've only lived in this neighborhood a year, messaged me and was like, "Hey, I left a little surprise for you on the front doorstep." And I was like, "Ooh, that's cool," but also like different because I feel like I haven't left you presents. I don't know what's going on. I go out there, this thing's on the front door step, and I'm like, my wife's never going to let me hang that anywhere in the house. And I love it. and he got it for me because my wedding ring. This is my wedding ring. Can you see it? Let's see. This way.
Yep. Oh, nice. Very
Yeah.
cool.
It's
like
a
that.
solid gold lion head with a black diamond in the mouth.
Oh, wow.
And so my neighbor's always been a fan of that ring. And so he got me this, which I only put up for podcast and video purposes. And then I take it down and hide it in the closet. And it's pretty cool. But like I said, not in line with my wife's ideas of feng shui.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
So,
I love it
but
though. It's awesome.
Thank you. It would go well in your background there, I think, somewhere, if you had room for it.
Yeah, my background is very busy. Maybe if I had like one big thing instead of just a bunch of random things on the wall, it might be a little
Yeah, you've got a
easier
lot of
on the
flair.
eyes. I do.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So
Got the baby
yeah,
Yoda back there. Gotta have baby Yoda. I mean, come
you
on.
have to. Yeah. And then are those like Funko Pop heads you got going on back there too?
Oh yeah, that's a wall of Funko Pop. That's the Grammy that Eddie and I won.
Wow.
Our custom paddle tech Eddie and Webby paddle. I mean, we got it all going on. There's
Yeah,
a
you do.
custom players pickleball paddle behind me. I need to move that so it's more easily visible. But yeah, we got so much stuff going on. It's crazy.
Yeah. And it's probably you're just going to add to it before you take away.
Absolutely. But so we had a lot of good pickleball conversations, but we cannot have a 4-time Survivor contestant and Survivor winner on the show without talking a bit about Survivor. Are you cool with answering some questions about Survivor now?
Oh yeah. I mean, this is like 80% of my life. So
Right.
Answering Survivor questions. Ask away. Let's get them.
Nice. So as I mentioned in the intro, you've been on Survivor 4 different times. So for those unaware, which seasons were you on and which one did you win?
So I was on season 18. That was my first one. That was in like 2009 in Brazil. Then I was on season 20, which was an all-stars season called Heroes versus Villains. That was in 2010 in Samoa. Then I was on Blood versus Water, where it was a returning player plus a loved one. So I took my then girlfriend, now wife. She played Survivor with me on that one. That's the one I won. And that one was in the Philippines. And then earlier this year, I was on one called Winners at War. It was all the previous winners in one season. And that one was filmed in Fiji. So, over a decade that I have appeared on the show, and 4 times in that span, which is a lot.
That's very impressive. Has there been, I know Boston Rob has been on numerous times. Is there anybody else that has been on more times than you and Boston Rob?
Rob's the only one that's played 5 times.
Okay.
And there's a few of us that have played 4 times.
Okay. Very nice. So
yeah,
on the Heroes versus Villains season, which team were you on? I know the answer, but for those that are unaware, which team were you on in Heroes versus Villains?
I was on the Villains tribe. Yes.
Okay.
The thinkers, the gamers, the schemers were all villains, and the sweethearts of America were the heroes. Needless to say, the villains crushed the heroes in all aspects of the game.
Oh, I bet. That makes total sense too, because the villains, they're the ones that, like you said, they have all the plans, they come up with the schemes and stuff like that. So like what do you feel like, what's the main reason you were on the villains team?
Because my first season I clashed really hard with one of the sweethearts of the show, and I did not hide my feelings about clashing with her. I definitely let America know that I wasn't a fan of hers. And so that is why I was a villain, most probably. And and my pointy face. I mean, my face is too pointy to be like a true hero ever. I have like gorgeous cheekbones, pretty pointy nose, pointy chin. Nobody's thinking that I am like a Superman style character.
Nice. That's a great point. Yeah, like heroes just don't have the like the cheekbones. Like that's a very villainous type of feature. I never really thought about that. But you're actually That's spot on.
Pointy cheekbones and pointy noses make great villains.
Nice. So, did you know ahead of time, going into that season, that it was heroes versus villains, or is that the kind of thing that's like a surprise until you get on the show and arrive on the island?
Yeah, that was a surprise. So we got
Okay.
on there, and then I think when they categorize you as such, you kind of then end up kind of either playing that role to like an even extra degree, or steering so far away from that role that your story gets retold or reshuffled or something. And so, yeah, I mean, I was not upset to be considered a villain on the season. I was fine, and I liked that tribe and everything, and took pride in being known as a survivor villain.
Nice. I like it.
But I'm a
So we
pickleball
have a
hero.
That's right. So we have a question here on YouTube. It's a very important question, and
Mhm.
it actually comes from my daughter, Addie Lulu, and she wants to know, in Survivor, where did you use the bathroom?
Addie Lulu. In nature's toilet, the ocean, which is also nature's shower, which I know sounds like, how can it be both? It just is. It's science. So
Okay.
generally, if you are by the ocean, you use the ocean as your toilet because it takes everything out, and the salt kind of kills a lot of germs, and the fish kind of eat a lot of stuff. And if you can't go in the ocean, then you do go somewhere and bury it like you would camping. But the problem with that is that smell and stuff can then attract rodents and some other bugs and other pests. So you want to keep that stuff away from you as much as possible, because that stuff leads to infections or disease or anything like that. So you're trying to keep your living area and beach area and stuff as clean as possible from anything that would attract any pests or rodents or anything like that.
Gotcha. All right. Great
So,
question,
yeah.
Addie. I feel like that's something that everybody wanted to know but was afraid to ask. So I'm glad
Yep.
she asked it.
No toilet paper, nothing. You don't have any of that stuff out there. So,
Oh
yeah.
man. So that brings up another question. Like she actually, my daughter, she's a huge fan of Survivor, and she had some good questions for you. She gave me a list of questions that she wanted me to ask you, and
Okay.
another one of them was, like, do you guys get any soap or toiletries at all, or is it legit? Like, do you really not get like any cleaning supplies whatsoever while you're out there?
So there's a medical box that's hidden and camouflaged off camera, and inside that medical box is contact solution, contact stuff for anybody that has contacts if they want to wear those. And then there's hand sanitizer in there so people can handle their contacts without giving themselves an eye infection.
Okay.
And then there's feminine hygiene products. And other than that, bug repellent and sunscreen, and that's it. And then if you are on prescription medications and the show's doctors deem them necessary for you to be out there, they will allow you to take those prescription meds. But if they do not think that you need them, they won't give them to you.
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
so like allergy medications or things like that are most typical, and they will withhold those from you until they can see that you are struggling with allergies or something.
Gotcha. Another thing, so like I started watching the show with my daughters and wife probably about 3 years ago is when we all started watching together. And something that they pointed out that I never really noticed is that a lot of the women seemed to have like perfectly shaved armpits throughout the whole series. Like are shaving items like
No.
for that, are those ever given out, or do some people just not grow armpit hair?
No, there's definitely scenes where they do have armpit hair. You can find those easily enough. But if you're going on the show, you have time to prepare, and a lot of people will go get waxed or get laser hair removal or something to make sure that doesn't happen. Thin body hair doesn't really show up that well on camera anyways. So even though you're maybe not seeing any hair on the camera, it still could be present. I tend to typically just trim all of the hair off of my body, just because hair can make a mess and can, get knotted and matted and trap things and stuff like that. And having long hair on the show, while it looks super cool, I'm sure, is the biggest pain in the butt. Like, I remember waking up one morning and reaching around the back of my head, and I was like, oh dude, I've got like a giant stick in the back of my hair. It wasn't a stick. It was a dreadlock that had naturally formed that was like the size of my middle finger. It was like,
Oh man.
it was like, yeah. And it was like, I was like, oh dude, I spent all day long picking it out. But there wasn't much going on that day, so it was fine.
Nice. Well, we've got a question here on Twitch, which is always a big deal for us. And this is our good buddy, Chris Twitch 2.0, aka Wings Media Guy. And he wants to know, how did Tyson change up his game on Survivor between his second and third appearances that enabled him to bring home the victory?
I mean, there definitely is a learning curve to Survivor. You'll see seasons where there's a couple returning players and then a bunch of new players, and those returning players almost always run really deep. I think from second to third, I had adjusted some, but my bigger adjustment was from my first time, just learning to keep everybody on your side as much as you can, and not really alienating anybody from the group or from the game, because those people on the bottom end up at some point being used as pawns to flip the game. And so if you can utilize people that maybe you clash with or aren't in your little trust circle or whatever you got going on, you still got to maintain some level of civility with them. Even if they're out to get you, you can't fully cut them off. And so that was definitely a lesson I learned the first time I played. I didn't really get to utilize it the second time, but I did put it into effect the third time. And I think also there's so many weird balances between playing too hard and not hard enough. And one of the other things I implemented was that it was okay not to win every challenge, because if you win every challenge, you appear too threatening. And by losing challenges or not trying that hard in some challenges when I didn't feel like I needed to win, also helped me get further in the game. I also got injured that season. I pulled some ligaments in my shoulder, and so I was in a sling for a couple of weeks before I really had full mobility. So I definitely played that up as well. Like, I'm just helpless and injured. Even though my face is pointy, there's not much I can do. And so, yeah, you just have to take advantage of everything that can be an advantage. And
Right.
It's tricky. The hardest part of Survivor, I mean, it's a competition, but it's not like you play somebody pickleball and you lose and you feel like you should have beat them. You can play them the next day, or you can play them the next week, or whatever. Survivor, most people only get one shot at it. And even if you're playing multiple times, it's like, yeah, you may learn something every time, but it's years between appearances. And so being able to put those lessons to play can sometimes never come, or be years and years in the making. So I think in that way, it's pretty unique in that you don't get to practice and get better at the show before you go back and try again.
All right. Makes a lot of sense. Here's another question on YouTube from Amber Schindler. And this one is, or actually this is from Facebook from Amber Schindler. And she said, would you do another season on Survivor? So if you were contacted by Survivor, would you do another one, or are you fed up?
I mean, it's really hard to turn down a 1 in 20 shot at $1 million.
Right.
And so I feel like I'd have to. It's definitely harder to go and do it now than it was when I was younger. And it takes a harder toll on my body now, and probably mentally and emotionally as well. And I have 2 small daughters at home, and that's hard to leave for 5 or 6 months with no communication whatsoever. You're just like ghosting the world for that amount of time that you're gone.
Yeah, I can't imagine how tough that would be.
Yeah. So all that stuff is I mean, if they asked me I'd definitely have to see where I was, but Survivor's been so good to me. And, if they want me back, then, I don't feel obligated to go back, but I feel like part of it is like, yeah, I can go back, even if it's maybe not the most ideal for me. They've shown me a lot of love. And so if I can reciprocate that in any way, then I will.
All right. So out of all the seasons that you've done, which would you say was the toughest for you?
Probably the last one, because I came in as such a huge target and didn't realize that I was going to be a huge target right from the get-go. And usually because of my award-winning personality, I just magically work my way into the top echelon in the majority of the group and don't have an issue doing that. But on this last season, where everybody maybe even had phone calls before the game started about getting rid of me, it made navigating the game a lot different, and playing from the bottom was a much different experience than anything I'd experienced before on the show. And so that was tricky from that standpoint. Otherwise, I mean, locations, they all have their challenges. Anywhere that rains a lot is going to be definitely a lot more difficult than no rain. But I don't know that one season or location particularly stands out as more difficult if you are meaning the elements and location.
Okay. Was there any specific challenge or like a type of challenge that you hated the most anytime it got brought up during your run of the show?
Yes. The blindfold challenges. Blindfolds are like the great equalizer. Like nobody can perform well blindfolded. And so the second the blindfolds come out, I get a little claustrophobic. And then on top of that, it's like I was born to run and jump and swim and reach and do all those things. And by putting a blindfold on, you can't open up the throttle on anything. And so the blindfold challenges are really something that I really don't like.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's a good answer. But I like as a spectator, the challenge, like anytime I watch Survivor, the ones
food?
that I feel like no, actually, that would be tough too. But the ones that stand out to me the most is that I would hate is the ones where you have to like sit or stand or like be in the same position for as long as possible. Like that's something for me. Like just the fact that I know I have to stay in this position forever. Like I feel like as soon as I start it, I'd be like, "Oh my god, this is torture!
Move.
I need to end it. I need to end right now. I need to move right now." Like I feel like for me, that just anytime I watch you guys do that, and when I see that it goes on for hours, I just think, man, that's got to be like torture. I would hate that.
Yeah, that is. And for me, like my strongest challenges generally are the ones that have multiple levels to them, like a run, a jump, an obstacle, a puzzle, like a bunch of different stuff, because I'm pretty good at everything, even without like being really honed in on something. But when it's a singular challenge where there's just one thing that can be hit or miss. Like maybe I'm really good at it and maybe not. But if there's that plus three other things, then it all works to my advantage, I think, because I'm a good swimmer, I'm a good runner, pretty good at puzzles. I can get through obstacles fairly quickly. And so, so I prefer something more along those lines than just the like, here, hold your arm above your head as long as you can. It's like,
Great.
I might be okay, but it's definitely not something where I'm like, I have the upper hand here. Get it? Upper hand.
I got you. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, you are.
But the eating challenge, that would definitely be up there as well. I feel like I can eat pretty gross things, but certain textures really mess with me. So I feel like the bugs, like the big juicy fat bugs, I wouldn't be able to, and like eyeballs and stuff like that. That I would struggle with for sure. Like I wouldn't be good at that either. I don't think I would be good at Survivor just in general. Like anything about Survivor, I feel like I would be horrible at. I would not be a good contestant.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like really, you don't have to be good at surviving. You have to be good at navigating personalities. And that
Yeah.
is honestly the most important skill to have to win the game, is navigating personalities. So,
Gotcha.
and
Yep.
being self-aware, like being aware as to what other people are feeling about you and how they feel about you. And so that's, yeah. So there's definitely that, but it's not about surviving. Like if anybody is putting in an audition tape and telling them how good they are at camping, that's not even part of playing Survivor. Like playing Survivor is even while underfed, underslept, underwashed, underpampered, super uncomfortable, you're able to still keep your presence of mind and also navigate all those personalities and bite your tongue. And that's how you win Survivor, not by setting up a shelter and fishing.
Gotcha. So you mentioned personalities. A very well-known personality in the world of pickleball actually left a message for you, and it's Glenn Lucy, and he wants to know, or actually he wants you to talk about Coach, which is his favorite character from Survivor ever.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you have to say about Coach? Did you have a good relationship with Coach?
I did. I played 2 seasons with Coach. I still, Coach called me today or yesterday. I was on the phone with him. He's definitely out there, but he has a big heart and a good heart. And we kind of hit it off immediately. And so on my first season, him and I were like each other's ride or die alliance. And then on Heroes versus Villains, we were both on the Villains tribe. But yeah, I love Coach. I think he's super entertaining as well. And going back and watching some of those old seasons with Coach, for me, if people are wanting to see me on Survivor, I will show them an episode that has Coach in it because he's just so ridiculous in all the best ways.
Right. Yeah, I was always a big fan of watching him on the show too. And is it just me, or does Coach resemble Tommy Lee quite a bit? Has that ever gotten brought up?
Yeah, we
between
get
you
a lot
two?
of it.
Okay.
I always thought he was like the love child of Steven Seagal and Daniel Day-Lewis in Last of the Mohicans. So
Nice.
that was, yeah. So that was what I always kind of came up with. But yeah, he's always had that long hair pulled back in a ponytail with like the shaved underneath it a little bit. And yeah, he's great.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. So how accurate would you say the edited version of the show that we all see on TV is compared to what actually happens in real life on the island? Is it pretty accurate, or does it seem like they really manipulate things the way they edit it?
I mean, it's accurate, but you have to keep in mind that each episode, which is a 45-minute episode, is 3 days worth of footage. So what you're seeing and the viewers at home are saying, oh, why didn't this person see this or see this happening or something? Stuff is happening constantly all day long, and ideas and strategies are changing constantly in the game. And so in that course of that 3-day footage, there could be 1,000 different strategic ideas that are being voiced. And so the show definitely can't show all of those. And most of them fizzle out and amount to nothing anyways. But you as a player have to keep all of that stuff straight in your head. So what you're seeing is then the story that matters, the storyline that actually formulated and became something. And so from that standpoint, I mean, what you're seeing on TV now just times that by like 30, and that is what it's like to be there in person.
Gotcha. All right. And I know we talked about this a little bit before the show, but whenever Eddie and I cover a tournament, I'm there recording a lot of footage and getting footage to make a highlight reel out of. And just from like one weekend's worth of pickleball tournament footage, that's a lot of work, and it's very tough to condense it all down to like a short highlight reel. So I can't imagine what it's like on the show Survivor, recording for days and days and days, and then cutting down 3 days worth of stuff into one 45-minute episode. So I feel like that's got to be a tough job for the editors and the film crew. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And they start editing the second that they start filming. So they'll film and ship it all back to LA, where the editing room is already ready to start cutting and splicing and following some of the storylines and stuff like that. And it's a huge production. Like you said, they have, when you go out, they have over 400 people on location working on the show Survivor.
Wow.
And then so even though it looks like we are marooned there by ourselves, at any given time in camp there can be 20 or 30 crew members with cameras and mics and other gear, setting up lighting, etc. And then at the challenges, a lot of times there's even like some bleachers set up, and there's like VIPs. There's some of the crew that isn't working on the challenge that comes to watch as their sporting event intake for the week. And there's, it's a giant production, and they do an awesome job of, like you never see a camera guy in the shot.
Oh, yeah.
They're all juggling around and dancing around each other to make sure it really does look like we're there by ourselves.
Wow, that's very interesting, because I have some video production and television broadcasting experience, and so I know what it takes to put on a big production like that. But for them to have that many crew members there on the island, I never realized it was that many people involved in it. So that's very interesting to know. Are there ever times where they miss something and they're like, "Hey, can you say that one more time, just so we can make sure we have good footage?" Does that ever happen, or are they good at not doing that?
Yeah, it does. It does happen, but they almost never use that footage in the long run because we're not actors. Like, we're out there being ourselves, having real conversations. Right. So for us to reenact another conversation, a conversation we just had, doesn't come off as natural, and then it doesn't look right. And so that has happened a couple of times in my experiences, but then when it comes down to it, they either use the original footage where they didn't feel like they got the best shot, or they don't use any of it.
Okay. Very interesting. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I love to find out, because I always thought about but never knew. So that's good to know. That's very, very interesting. I do have a couple more questions that my daughter wanted me to make sure that I asked. So here's another question from Addison. And she said she wants to know, what did you find yourself doing to kill time on the island when you were not doing challenges?
Oh man, that's the tricky part, because you have to be with the majority of the tribe all the time. So whatever the majority of the tribe is doing, that's what you're doing. If they're all out fishing at the same time, you're out there fishing. If they're all bathing in the ocean at the same time, that's what you're doing. If they're just lounging around camp, that's what you're doing. You just have to appear like you're just like along for the ride and hanging out with the group and not up to much. And so, yeah, a lot of people get out there and they're like, "Oh, well, I would just go fish every day." And it's like, yeah, but that gives the entire group an opportunity to talk about you while you're gone. And you can't let those windows of opportunity open for other players. So the best thing you can do is just hang around. Like, some people make backgammon boards. They have these little swingy ring games with a hook on a tree where people do make that kind of thing to pass the time. I am very good at being alone with my thoughts and just giggling to myself at jokes I come up with in my head. And so I've never had a problem just lounging and hanging out in the rudimentary shelter that we built and giggling to myself every once in a while.
Nice. So were there ever any encounters that you had with like creatures or animals that you saw that made you feel like you were legitimately in danger, or like feared for your life at all? Or
Fear for my life, no. But I mean, in the ocean, there were sharks. We've ate sharks. We saw sharks swimming around once in a while. At one point in Brazil, we got home from tribal council pretty late, and one of the girls went to lay her head down, and there was a coral snake coiled around a rock right next to where she was about to lay her head. And fortunately, the moonlight was strong enough that she saw it, and she said, "Hey, there's a snake right here." And they immediately had a snake expert rush in, snag it with the snake tongs, put it in a pillowcase, tie a knot on it, and drive it out to the middle of nowhere and release it. But a coral snake bite to the face or to the neck on that girl would definitely have been probably life-ending, if not ultra traumatic and super serious.
Oh man.
So
Yeah.
But a lot of times you don't even really feel like you're there like that because there's so many crew members around that you just feel like it's a regular production somewhere. And it's kind of like a false sense of security in that you think it's a controlled environment, and it definitely is not.
Right. Yeah, that's another thing I wondered too. Like the fact, like I know that there's got to be a lot of camera people, a lot of microphone people. So like seeing those extra people that aren't there, like as contestants on the island, I always did wonder, like, does that like give you a little more sense of security, like you said, like the fact that like there's other people here. Like if I get in too much trouble, somebody can help me.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. And there's always lifeguards around too. They're hiding in the bushes somewhere by the ocean all the time. Uh, there's a lot of people there that are all waiting in the wings to jump in and help. If I cut my finger with a machete one season, they flew a helicopter in to give me, I think I got 2 stitches in my finger.
Oh, wow.
And it was great. I mean, the helicopter showed up and I was like, what are you gonna do? And they're like, we're gonna put a couple sutures in it. I was like, 2 stitches on my finger? You could have just let that be open. I don't care if I get a scar on my finger. It's not like bleeding like crazy. But they are, assuming no liability when they're able to, do that stuff. So they came and stitched me up. So that was probably the most expensive 2 stitches I've ever received in my life, but I didn't pay anything for it. But I imagine the cost of flying a giant helicopter out with a bunch of people in it to the island I was on was not cheap.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I really thought was very interesting, very early on in Survivor, I think might have even been just season 2. I think his name was Michael Steuben, the one that kind of fell into the fire.
Yeah.
They had the crew that kind of, you could see the medical crew, and they gave him something to like breathe in that kind of like gave him, it was like pain meds or something like that.
Yeah.
So like it was cool to see like that the show wasn't afraid to show that like if somebody gets like in really serious danger, like there are people there to take care of them if they're like life threatening or just something really crazy like that happens. And it was kind of interesting to see that they would show that kind of stuff on the show like that. So I've been a big fan of the show since the beginning. So I've seen a lot of that stuff, and I feel like that was such a groundbreaking show and just so cool. And even now, like now that my kids, like I took a break from a little while, like I didn't watch it every single season. I watched like at least the first 10, then I might have taken a break for a little bit. And then, but now that my daughters are old enough to appreciate it, like that's like every time Survivor comes on, it's like one of the family shows, one of the very few shows we sit down as a family to watch together. So it's a very cool show. I love it. Big fan.
And Survivor's always done an excellent job at branding itself as a family show and creating a family show. And so I think that it feels like a pretty good niche market there where you can sit down with even kids as young, like there's something for everybody in the show. Like a lot of the younger audience just loves the challenges. And some of the adults love to watch the strategy because they're like numbers people or they're strategy fans or something like that. And there's people there for the humor, and there's people there to watch other people struggle. Those are the masochists. But there's a lot of, there's something for everybody, I believe.
Absolutely. Glenn Lucy, he gave us another great question, and it's so long that the whole thing is not going to show up on the screen. So I'll do my best to read the entire thing. But he said, I always wanted to go on the show, but I have almost 0 fat on my body. I have to eat a dozen chocolate chip cookies every day just to maintain 140. So after a month, I would look like a Holocaust survivor. You are also pretty lean. How much weight would you lose each time? How long would it take to recover and gain the weight back?
So the very first time I went on the show, I had just come off of a pro cycling career, and I was measuring my body fat, and I was still training and doing stuff like that. And I the doctors before the game begged me to gain some weight. And I remember when I had the conversation with them, maybe like a month or two before we started, I was probably 155 pounds. I'm 6'3". I was 155 pounds and about 4% body fat. And so like you could see veins all over my body from the low body fat. And I think before I got on the show, I gained 10 pounds, which isn't a ton of body fat percentage to gain, but it was some. So I went out at 165 and exited the show after 27 days at 149 at 6'3".
Oh, wow.
And it takes a long time to get that back. Just to gain the weight, no, but to gain the muscle back and that other stuff and where you were physically and stuff, it just depends on how motivated and driven you are, because the show does take its toll mentally on you as well, to the point where you can almost justify just watching TV and eating snacks for a year or two after you've been on the show. You're like, I starved myself that one time in Brazil. I deserve a night of Netflix and candy. And so I think it would definitely take months to get back to where you were physically and fitness wise after you return home from the show. But that's if you're driven. And if you're not, it could take, if you just kind of try to settle back into a routine without doing extra work, probably take more, closer to like a year maybe.
Okay. Wow.
So I went to Brazil, maybe the best shape of my life, and have never regained that fitness all the way, but I've never been that driven to regain it. So I'm always just 12 to 16 months away from peak physical fitness.
Okay. All right. So I just got some breaking news from Eddie on Eddie's side. Eddie is running this whole show, and he actually just lost power where he's at. We're running off of battery backups. So there's a chance that his battery backups will die. So if our feed dies, that's what happened.
Well, we're good now. Yeah, the power went out in my entire house, and thank God I have a UPS set up, because everything in the house went dark except for my my PC. But we're back now, so
okay, that's good to know.
Crisis averted.
That's great to know. Eddie, I officially vote you back on the podcast, because you are so
you saved us.
You have everything. Yeah, you have everything under control. So I'm going to take this this vote to vote Eddie off the podcast. I'm going to rip it up. Eddie is back.
Is it me now?
All my hopes and dreams are restored now. Thank you.
But you're not
Tyson,
revoting.
I think no, we are not revoting. It's a wash.
Okay.
We are all safe this week. It is a non-elimination week, so we are all safe.
Thank goodness. I had a couple questions for you.
Oh, okay. All right. What do you got?
What is your real name?
My real name? My real name is Webster Papadopoulos Schindler.
Is that your real name?
If you are friends with me on Facebook, then that is my real name. Facebook. I used to be just Webster Papadopoulos on Facebook. Somebody reported me as not showing my real name, so I updated it and added my real last name, which is Schindler. So Webster Papadopoulos Schindler is my full legal Facebook name.
Legal Facebook name, but that's not your real name. Is that why you wear the sunglasses, so nobody knows truly who you are?
That is exactly right. That is exactly correct.
It's incredible. Because Papadopoulos, I was going to say, are you Greek? Are you part Greek? Because I have some Greek heritage, and I was going to bond over the Greek heritage with you. But if it's a made-up name,
I hate to burst your bubble, but I am not Greek.
Misappropriation.
But I do have a couple more questions from my daughter, so I think we'll move along from the name conversation. She has it's actually just one more question. One more question from my daughter, and it's a good one. It's what was the first thing you did when you got home from Survivor? Like, is there a certain thing that did you have like a routine? Like once you first got home from being on Survivor, is there a certain thing you did each time, or did you have something different that you did, or what was that like?
I mean, you want to see your family, and that's like number one, but you are exhausted. And 1 second, excuse me. So you're exhausted, And you think that in the show you're going to eat all this great food when you get home, but if you get voted out before you get home, if you get voted out like earlier, they have all that food there for you. So you've already done all the picking out that you are even wanting to do before you even get home, which is kind of a bummer because you've been dreaming of like your favorite local restaurant and going to Costco and grabbing all the treats that you want and stuff like that. And then by the time you get home, you've already overeaten for 2 weeks because you were voted out 2 weeks previous. But I would say the one constant is just catching up on sleep. So sleeping in your own bed and sleeping. And then I always, because they take your phone from you and they take everything away from you, so you can't contact anybody. So like you have all these unread emails and text messages and everything. And I usually ignore those for a couple weeks as I settle back into like regular life. But it just depends. It depends on like what your real life is. Because if you have to be back to work the next day, you are not afforded the luxury of staying in bed for a week.
Right.
So, yeah, but I think most people, it's mostly catching up on sleep and seeing your all of your loved ones, friends, and family.
All right. Makes a lot of sense. So are you aware of anybody else that has been on Survivor that also plays pickleball?
I am introducing the game to as many former Survivor contestants as possible. I know that Rob Boston Rob is one of my closest friends in life and also from the show. And I've been introducing the game to him a little bit. And I think Tina, who won season 2, I think she plays a little bit. Chris Underwood, who won a couple seasons ago, he plays a little bit. And I think Wendell is going to get into the game here pretty soon too. So I don't think anybody that has been on Survivor can currently beat me at pickleball. I think I am the number one Survivor pickleball player in the world. I will go so far as to say that. And that's also now trademarked. Right. Sorry, Scott Golden. You are unable to bestow that title upon yourself.
Nice. So Boston Rob is another player, in addition to yourself, that I've always been a big fan of and I was very entertained with during the show. I feel like he would be somebody that would really get into pickleball. Is he taking it pretty serious, or has he not really gotten into it quite yet as much as he should, or what do you think?
No, not yet. I'm going to try and line him up with some Gamma stuff. I'll send him some Gamma stuff for Christmas and get him going on that. And then probably have to meet up with him somewhere. I mean, he's in one of the hotbeds of pickleball. He lives in Florida now. So between me being in Arizona and him being in Florida, we could rule each coast.
Yeah, there's no excuse. No excuse for him not getting into hardcore.
I mean, except for that he has Florida's 4 daughters that are all going to school. Yeah, it really is. So, yeah, I'm introducing him to it, and we'll get him going on it. But he's got a long road ahead of him if he wants to beat me at pickleball.
So, trying to tie in pickleball with Survivor, is there anything you learned during your time on Survivor that you think has helped with your pickleball game in any way?
Yeah, I mean, one thing with Survivor, with the challenges specifically, I mean, the game in general is never give up, because even if you're on the bottom, you never know how things are going to shake out or what weird twist is going to happen. And one of the beauties of pickleball is that, like, even when you're down 10-1, sometimes you just need one good run to bring you victory. And I mean, 10-1 definitely is the most extreme example, but being down 3 or 4 or 5 points, the game is not even close to over. And so, and I think being able to, stay focused and motivated and competitive and not give up or, decide to look towards the next game rather than focus on finishing the one you're in, is definitely something that I've taken away from Survivor for sure.
Nice. And yeah, I totally agree. You have no idea how many times I have won games where I was down by 6, 7, even 8 points, and I came back
And
and ended up winning.
Those feel
I
the
feel like-
best.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like there's nothing better than a come from behind victory. And it feels so good. And something about it, when I get when the other team gets a big lead, it's almost like that's what I need. Like that's what really makes me like focused. And it's like, I play smarter, and it's like I don't know what it is. I wish I could I wish I could be the one that takes the big lead, but it never fails. The other team always takes a big lead, but then that's when just something clicks with me. That's when I focus. And then that's when I do my best stuff.
Yeah. And I'm the same. Like I'm kind of driven because I know, but at the same time, when I have a big lead and lose a game, it's quite demoralizing to be in that position. So I think part of me is like wanting that win, knowing what it feels like as the opponent to lose that, and not in any any negative connotation, but you do want to demoralize your opponent when you can, so that maybe they don't play at their highest level. If you can, give them something to pout about for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So for anybody tuning in, if you don't follow Tyson on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff, he's always posting good pickleball related content. And there's actually a video that you posted. There's a video you posted not too long ago of you doing a pretty sweet ATP shot. And Eddie, I think we have that video clip handy. So if I am telling the truth, I say we should go ahead and roll it. Nice. That was a good ATP.
You like that? I liked it too.
I love ATPs.
They're so exciting.
It's such a satisfying shot.
It really is. And the only ATPs I've had, they've all been on my backhand side, because everybody goes to my backhand there super hard, because it's my weak side at least. And so they just get a little out of hand with pushing it across court, and then it opens up the ATP for me. And I've found that I know a lot of guys go for that back corner with a lot of power. That soft ATP at the opponent's feet, they don't know. Like the look that he gave me when that happened was the look I've gotten. I've probably done 3 or 4 of those in the last couple months, and that's the look you get every time, is your opponent watching it bounce at his feet and looking up and being like, yeah. So I love watching the professionals defend the ATP. Like that's an exciting moment for me when you see the ATP coming and you also see the pro moving into position to defend it. And I love that.
Well, yeah, Eddie and I have talked about this before. Like a couple of years ago, the ATP, it was almost a guaranteed point.
Yep.
But now the pros are so good at predicting when an ATP is going to happen that they easily defend it. And we've seen, like earlier this year, Eddie and I commentated and live streamed the Florida Grand Slam in Bonita Springs, Florida, and there were numerous games where, like in one rally, there would be 3 ATPs that happened.
Yeah, that's crazy. Zane Navratil did an ATP double when I played with him. So
Really?
he ATP'd it, put it back, it went back, and he ATP'd again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, here's what's funny. I think too that, as I'm getting better, I've realized that once I start to play with really solid 4-0 players, that really deep and close to the net cross court dink is not a good shot, because those very solid 4-0, 4-5 players are going to be able to hit the APP or the ATP pretty consistently, where when you're up against a 3-0, 3-5, that really wide but short, cross-court dink is deadly. And so I feel like that's almost a defining factor between people that kind of cross over into that 4-0, 4-5 level. And I love it when somebody dinks me wide, because I'm like, beautiful. I'm going to be as patient as I can. And just like you did there, I'm going to wait on it, and boom, there's no way they're going to be able to defend that.
Yeah. And like you said, like the ATP is one of those shots where the first time you hit it, now it's added to your quiver of weapons. It's the same thing with the with an Eddie. It's like you, or an Ernie. It's the same thing with an Ernie. When you know, the first one you get, you're like, oh, that's how that works. And this is what I'm looking for. And then you can add it to your repertoire of shots and make yourself a more versatile player. And so that's one of the other exciting things about pickleball, is being able to add those unique shots to your game and having an eye for when they're going to happen. I think a lot of people don't realize, that don't play, that there's a lot of predicting in pickleball on what your opponent's going to do, even, you know, making eye contact with your opponent or watching how they're swinging their paddle as to where the ball is going to be, and get your paddle there before they even hit the ball to a certain degree. And that's when you know, can set up for an Ernie or even an ATP. So yeah, ATP is FTW. That means for the win.
For the win. Well, I mean, I feel like at our level, and I'm saying our level, that kind of 4.0, 4.5 level.
Yeah, our collective level.
It's pretty much a guaranteed win. I don't know that I've ever hit an ATP when I'm playing against people in my level and it's ever been defended. It's basically a guaranteed win. And then you see it on the pro
They stop
level.
playing. Yeah, they stopped playing at that point. That's what happened there, is they saw the shot, they saw it was deep to my backhand and figured it was point over, so they relaxed, and then it hit them. And yeah, I mean, there are moments like that where you're in a rally and you think the point is won and you stop, or your opponents stop, and the ball is still in play.
Yeah. Have you done that a lot, where you're almost like celebrating your point, and next thing you know, they put it back in play, and you're so out of position that they end up getting it back, and you're like, oh God.
Yeah, I had one where I smashed it for the kill. One of the players had gotten back, but the other player hadn't gotten back when I set up. I hit it at their feet. It bounced underneath their paddle. They didn't make contact. Their partner, totally hidden by their body, hit a lob back over their partner. But after it had passed the first guy, I was just like, ta-da. And then I turned around, and my partner actually was like, it's still going. I was like, what? And I think we turned around and did keep playing the rally for a little bit, but it was shocking. And stuff like that has happened. That one stands out for sure, because I thought for sure the point was done, and then the ball just like popped out of nowhere.
Yeah, it happens to me probably once a week. I'm celebrating my victory, and next thing you know, it's like, well,
you got to learn to wait till the ball hits the fence or takes a couple bounces.
I've had it too, where I've kind of whiffed an overhead, and then I'm like, oh crap. But then it's like, if I would have just literally taken 3 steps back and just gone for a drop, I could have kept it in play. But it's almost like you mentally give up. And I'm starting to realize, by watching video of myself playing recently, that's something I really got to work on, is I almost give up on the play until I'm 100% certain that it's over. And I'm so quick to like be like, yep, that play's over, that it can kind of bite me in the butt a little bit.
Yeah, I found with that, if I jump for an overhead and miss it, I don't have time to get back because I jumped. But if I keep my feet on the ground for an overhead, that's questionable. Then even if I whiff, I have time to turn around and chase the bounce.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, for some reason in my mind, I can jump way higher than I actually can. So it happens quite often where I jump, I'm like, I'm smashing the crap out of this thing. The ball's going to shatter into a million pieces. Yep. And then I swing so hard, I miss it, and my shoulder hurts. But and that happens. It's pretty regularly. But I think sometimes I swing so hard that the wind boosts the ball a little bit and pushes it out of bounds. So I'm like, oh, I meant to miss that when I knew it was going to be out of bounds.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That happens all the time. Like, oh, I meant to whiff that. Yeah. That was intentional, right?
That was me pulling back and trying not to hit it.
Yeah. Yeah. The old fake out to make them think that I whiffed it, and then I'm going to run back and get it and trick them.
Exactly. So, go ahead.
I was going to say, somebody sent us a video clip of you. I don't know if the name Brian Thompson sounds familiar to you, but he recorded you playing not too long ago, and he sent a video that he thought was pretty entertaining involving you.
Is that true?
It is true. Yeah, we got an email. It was actually just earlier today. Somebody sent us an email. He was like, "Hey, I see you have Tyson on the show. This is a clip that you might find amusing." And we did find it amusing, and it's a pretty sweet behind the back shot. So, Eddie, I say we go ahead and roll that clip.
Oh, a little behind the shot.
Slick tricks. This is my specialty. This is called the Webby.
Whoa, wait a second here. You can't just name a shot after yourself unless you do it regularly during tournaments. Just who do you think you are, pal?
Man, get out of here. Yo, if you need some proof of why it's my signature shot, watch this footage.
I love that shot. It sneaks a little too far to get your backhand on it, so you twist your body and pop it up that other way. I've had way cleaner, lower shots than that have just been like phenomenal, but I feel like we're kindred spirits.
That's right. I love it. But I feel like I need to update the video of the Webby, because all of those shots I did were like super high pop-up shots.
Yeah.
Luckily, I caught the opponent by surprise, so they drilled it into the net, but or they set up my teammate to put it away. But I've gotten a lot better at doing the Webby and keeping it lower. I know in those shots it was pretty high up there.
Yeah, mine was pretty high too, but I think mine was shallow.
But nothing better than nailing that shot, keeping it low, and getting the point. It's such a satisfactory shot. Love it.
Yes, it's happened a few times. It does shock them. So, and you hit it because the ball goes all the way past you, and they're like, "Yep, got it." And then you hit it back like that, and a lot of times it does go in the net because they are completely caught off guard. So, wow, that's incredible. I've never seen that footage of me doing that.
Yeah. So thanks, Brian, for sending us that footage. That was very cool.
Thanks, Brian. That was in Missouri. So that was at the tournament in Missouri that I played.
Very nice. So other than pickleball, what have you been up to since the most recent season of Survivor? Like what can we find Tyson Apostol doing in his free time other than pickleball? That might be a tough answer.
Yeah, pickleball. No, not really. I mean, usually after you're on a season of Survivor, you kind of make the rounds physically and, make a lot of appearances and do stuff like that. But with this year being as unique as it is, we've kind of had to think outside the box a little bit and do more virtual style stuff. So I meet with fans virtually. I've been selling merchandise on my website, TysonApostol.com. I celebrate nature because nature is pretty awesome. I don't know if you know about nature, but it's pretty cool stuff out there. And I've always been a fan of wildlife. So I'll share videos like that. On the pickleball front, just more playing, more content. I'm trying to, figure out some content and different ways to create content that hasn't been done. I don't know if you've seen my POV footage of pickleball where I wear a camera on my hat while I'm playing. But that's pretty fun. It's first person. Then you don't even have to play. You can just watch me play, feeling like you're the one playing.
There we go. Nice.
And then, and then coming up later, I will be attending some of the Gamma pickleball camps, the Never Stop Playing pickleball camps. They start next week. And so I'll be, I won't be at everyone, but I will be, honing in my skills by attending some of those camps. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So I don't know. I got a lot of stuff going on. It's like too much stuff. Like for not having a real job, I spend like 80 hours a week not having a real job, which is a crazy amount of hours to spend not working, trying to figure out how to not work. So, I do a lot of content stuff besides pickleball content and besides nature content. I do like Survivor fan trivia on Twitch every week with Boston Rob, and we do some other fun things like that. So we got other stuff cooking up. That's not, I can't talk about it yet, but just keep your eyes peeled, because when it drops, it's going to be really great. You're going to love it.
Very nice. Love it. And everybody tuning in live, once we post this on YouTube and Facebook after the fact, we'll be sure to include any links to the things that Tyson mentioned down below. So you'll want to click on that to check it out. It's definitely great stuff. I follow Tyson in pretty much every area that he mentioned. A lot of great content. But
TikTok,
man, Tyson,
do you follow me on TikTok?
Actually, I don't. I haven't really gotten into TikTok yet. My daughters,
it's the future, I heard.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen my daughters and my wife are all constantly showing me TikTok videos. I just am not personally on TikTok, but I've seen a lot. Like, I'm very familiar, and I've seen a lot of TikTok things. So I'm hip to the TikTok stuff. I just haven't actually actively done TikTok.
Yeah, I just joined just because you got to be a part of everything, kind of.
Right. Oh, for sure.
So,
I agree.
yeah.
But man, this has been a super fun night. It's been almost 2 hours. I can't believe how fast that time flew by. We cannot thank you enough, Tyson. It was I feel like we could easily talk for another 2 hours. I know you mentioned a lot of things that you're up to, but is there anything else you want to tell everybody as far as like the best ways to follow you or see what you're up to?
Yeah, I mean, my handle is at Tyson Apostol, my full name, on Twitter, on Instagram, on my Facebook fan page, everywhere. I try to interact with people as much as I can. And I am going to be starting to advertise a little bit about where I'm going to be when I'm playing pickleball, so that people can come meet up with me and play if they're interested. And it doesn't matter what skill level you are, as long as you come willing and ready. I even have bags of paddles. So even if you don't have a paddle, you want to come play pickleball with me, that can happen.
Very nice. And I will be one of those people that come to Arizona and play with you for a future installment of Webby versus everybody. So don't know exactly when, but everybody, you can expect that to happen at some point, and it's sure to be a great time. I've played with a lot of very high skilled players.
Dude, I have to pee so bad because of this. I have to pee so bad because of this. So you guys take it for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, do you want to say goodbye right now? We can just say goodbye. Oh, he's already gone. Well,
hey, listen, we've both been there though, where we're like literally about to pee our pants, sprinting off of the.
Happened to me like 5 minutes ago. Happened to me 5 minutes ago when Eddie all of a sudden was on the screen instead of myself.
If you ever see us when like one of us is doing the main conversation and the other person comes in, it's typically because the other person has to pee really bad. And so I don't know if you guys know, but during the whole podcast, Webby and I, we have like a side chat going, and we're constantly trying to keep updated with each other's. And I think that we do a good job of that while maintaining the conversation, while managing the live stream, while looking at social media. It's like having your head on a swivel. And I feel like we do a pretty good job at it.
Yeah, after almost 80 episodes, I think we finally learned a pretty good a good method of doing the show to where our bladders don't explode during the show.
Speaking of bladders,
how did you guys do that? You guys didn't finish your drink. I finished it like an hour and a half ago, and I've had to pee for the last hour. And is that urine or is that beer?
This is my second one, but I did. Both Webby and I have taken breaks. We were just talking about that. We have both taken pee breaks during the show. So
that's how damn good we are. We can seamlessly take piss breaks during the show.
Is that true?
It's true. Yeah. And I mean, our power goes out. Like, we just, it's like a seamless transition, man. Yeah.
Dude, this is crazy. You guys are real pros. I always just don't drink anything if I know I'm going to be on a podcast for a long time. But then you guys encouraged me to ingest liquids. And so I did. And then for the last hour, I was just like, I just got to hold out for a little bit longer. And it's so unprofessional of me. And I'm 41 now. So, like, you got to pee more and all this stuff probably. And so I was just like, I loosened my pants to give me a little extra. And then at that time when I told you I had to go, I literally was like, do I pee in this chair I'm sitting in and just not acknowledge it and then just deal with the mess after? Or do I stop this great roll we're on and run to the bathroom real quick? And I opted for the second. I don't know if it was the correct answer, but that's what I chose.
It was totally fine. Eddie and I are such professionals. We were able to make it work, so it was seamless. It was totally fine. But I feel like I now realize why people do commercial breaks. I mean, and get sponsors. Maybe Eddie, maybe we should get a sponsor at some point. That way we can have like a good designated pee break during the show. Play some commercials.
Awesome.
Maybe one of these days. Maybe one of these
Can
days.
we delve
any
into
companies
what
out
your
there?
pee breaks are happening? I mean, I can understand Eddie taking a pee break, but I feel like I've been face to face with Webby this entire time.
It's amazing, isn't it? I've finished two of these.
He's got a catheter in, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
I've
So
got,
are we like? So you're like
down.
making eye contact with me as you're somehow relieving yourself. That's crazy,
No
man.
comment.
You're such
No
a pro.
comment.
You're such a
I'm
pro.
not going to reveal my secrets. I'm not going to reveal my secrets.
Dude, so awesome. No, mad respect. Don't reveal your secrets. I'm sure it's trademarked anyways, and we don't want
Right?
Scott Golden
Oh, yeah.
Boy to get a hold of any proprietary methods that we've got
Right.
going on.
Yep, Scott Golden, always trying to steal our trademarks, but sorry, Scott, we've got it all trademarked here.
Sorry, Scott, you're going to have to get a lawyer or bring a bag of cash if you want any of these titles or methods.
Right? Oh man, this
So-
was such a fun night. Thank you very much, Tyson. Very fun night, but it's going to go down in history as one of my favorite Eddie and Webby episodes, no doubt. I can't thank you enough. But unless you have anything else you want to reveal to the world, I think now is a great time to part ways, if you will.
No, I think I got everything out of there. And thank you for giving me the opportunity. And I don't even know what the saying is. Keep pickling. I just made that up. Do you guys have a sign off?
Trademark.
You have a trademark one? What is it?
We do have an official sign off, but it's usually not until the guest leaves and Eddie and I kind of chat. We kind of recap the episode to ourselves, and then we have a thing. So you'll see in a few minutes.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I have nothing else other than big thanks to Gamma for taking a chance on me and supporting me in my pickleball journey that I have hopefully been able to share with many newcomers to the sport through all of my mediums, and will continue to do so. So that's it. And thank you guys for your time and for your support. I look forward to seeing you in person, Webby. And who knows, maybe we can get, I don't know, we could wager some trademarked materials if you bring Scott Golden with you. And he has something trademarked that he would also like to wager on his end. And we can see who the number one pickleball personality is once and for all.
There we go. I love it. But
right now it's me because I have that trademarked title.
Right now it is you, but I'll see what I can do to take that from you. And
okay, you're going to try too?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Webby versus everybody, yo.
That's true. Okay, fine. I'll put it out there for you.
Nice. But very cool. Love what you're doing, and I look forward to collaborating with you again in the near future. But have a great night, Tyson.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Eddie. See ya.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, see ya. Oh, man.
Wow.
How fun was that?
Dude, here's the thing about Tyson is that he's such an easygoing guy. He's also super confident, but not in like an arrogant way. Obviously, you can tell he's passionate about pickleball, and he's just doing what he can to drive the sport. And it is awesome. Like that was such a cool, just fun kind of interview. And he's also really easy to talk to. You know, I thought it was great, Webby. I thought you did a great job.
Well, thank you. I had a blast. Like I loved talking to him. Like I think it's very interesting. Like I'm a huge Survivor fan, so that was interesting. And then the fact that he's so passionate about pickleball, I absolutely loved that fact. And it's no secret. Anytime somebody in pop culture is into pickleball, I am all about it. It doesn't matter if it's something that I follow, like the Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Like I am not a big fan. Like I don't watch their stuff, but my wife is a big fan and watches it. And I love the fact that they're into pickleball also. They're not like great at playing it. And the stuff that they've shown on Keeping Up with the Kardashians shows that they don't really know how to play pickleball. But just the fact that they give pickleball exposure, I love it. But Tyson, he's on a whole nother level. Like he's like you said, 4.0, 4.5 level. He's very passionate about it. And I like the fact that he admits like he doesn't really have a desire to go pro at pickleball, but I mean it's consuming his free time. He absolutely loves it, just like us. And I love it.
It's a relatable thing. Like I would love to get to the point to where I can show up on any court with any partner or any opponent and have the confidence in my game to know that I can hold my own, right? And I feel like that's kind of what Tyson was saying. It's like he wants to improve his game, but it's not necessarily for the I want to go pro. It's because he's got a passion for the game, and he just truly wants to be able to go out there and perform at the best of his ability. No different than what I feel like he was doing with his appearances in the TV show Survivor, or what he was doing with cycling. Like that's just right. That's his mentality, is just I want to be the best. And I know that I'm speculating, but I do feel like he's carried that over into pickleball, and it's nice to see that's kind of his goal.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it. And like you said, like he's got like a cockiness, like this self-confidence level, but it's like in a fun way. Like I appreciate it. And like we talked about earlier, he was considered a villain on Survivor. But even like that first season where he did like all the scheming and plotting and stuff like that, like it was done in a very smart and intelligent way. And like I couldn't help but laugh every time he was on screen, because he was like overly almost douchey to this one contestant on the show. Like he was talking about how there was like this fan favorite female on the show, and the fact that he was like just super arrogant and cocky, and like the things that he said to her were like things that would make anybody else get pissed off. But like it just, I don't know, he was playing the game. I mean, the game of Survivor, it's very mental. Like he said, like the mental part of it and the social part of it is the biggest part of it. Like, not so much how good you do at challenges, it's how can you manipulate the other players on the game, and how can you get people to do what you think they should do. It's just it's crazy. That's why I've always been a huge fan of Survivor. There's like there's a lot to it. There's a lot more to it than people think. And it's a great show. I've been a big fan of his for a long time. I've seen every season that he's been on in Survivor, which has been 4 times, which is pretty amazing. And it's awesome. I love the fact that he joined us. When I read the Pickleball Magazine article with him in the magazine, I was like, the first thing I thought of is like, man, he would be an amazing guest on the show. And the fact that we actually got him on the show, like I can't believe it. And I absolutely love it.
No, I agree. That was great. I had a great time reading the social media comments and kind of just hearing you guys go back and forth on that. And that was very enjoyable. So great job, Webby. Big thanks to Tyson again for joining. And guys, that was episode number 79, which means there are 79 of you out there still watching. And guess what, Webby?
What?
We love them. We love you guys. Thank you so much for all of that. Stick around, though. We're going to be taking the stream down, and we're going to be coming right back with Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby, where we're going to have a special guest. We're going to talk about some good stuff. So don't you go anywhere, guys. And on that note, I'm Eddie.
And until next time, this is Webby, not Eddie, signing off.
See ya.